Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. First, the headlines. Passenger arrivals in the Sultanate will be subjected to PCR testing for COVID-19 with the resumption of international flights starting from the 1st of October. Russian president calls for an agreement between Russia and the United States to guarantee not to engage in cyber meddling in each other's elections. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Passenger arrivals in the Sultanate will be subjected to PCR testing for coronavirus with the resumptions of operations of scheduled international flights starting from the 1st of October. All arrivals to the country for a period from 1 to 7 days shall register in their Tarassud Plus application on arrival, while those arrivals for a period of 8 days or more are obligated to wear Tarassud Plus bracelet and quarantine for a period of 14 days. The departures will be subjected to thermal screening on arrival to the airport and PCR testing if their temperature is abnormal. If the PCR testing is positive, they will be disallowed to travel abroad. Meanwhile, a trial for conducting the testing was implemented to evaluate the preparedness of Muscat International Airport. The Oman Air flights will take off to 17 cities in 12 countries around the world. President Vladimir Putin called on today for an agreement between Russia and the United States to guarantee not to engage in cyber meddling in each other's elections. In a statement ahead of the U.S. presidential election on November 3rd, Putin called for a visit between Russia and the United States and said he wanted an agreement between the two countries to prevent incidents in cyberspace. Moscow's relations with Washington are at post-Cold War lows as the election looms. U.S. intelligence agencies have concluded that Russia interfered in the 2016 U.S. presidential election with the aim of tilting it in Donald Trump's favor, including by hacking into the campaign of his rival Hillary Clinton. There has reportedly been a second arrest after the knife attack near the former editorial offices in Paris of the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. The second person was arrested in the area of the Richard Linear metro station near the crime scene. A first suspect had been arrested near the Place de la Bastille. Anti-terrorism investigators have taken over the investigation. At least 2 people were injured in the attack. Meanwhile, the president of the European Council, Charles Michel, sent a message of support to France today. The virus has killed at least 984,068 people since the outbreak emerged in China late last year. More than 32.2 million cases have been registered. The United States is the worst hit country with 202,827 deaths, followed by Brazil with 139,808, India with 92,290, Mexico with 75,439, and Britain with 41,902. Poland reports a record spike of 1,587 new cases over a 24 hours period, in line with the rise in other parts of Eastern Europe where numbers have been relatively low. Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin orders older people to stay at home and recommends employers ramp up remote working after a spike in virus infections. Hundreds of restaurants and cafe owners protest in the southern French city of Marseille against new shutdown orders to curb a surge in cases, worrying the move could force them to close permanently. US-based pharmaceutical company Novavax said it has begun a late-stage trial of its potential COVID-19 vaccine in the United Kingdom because the high level of the coronavirus circulating in the country is likely to produce quick results. Novavax said yesterday that it plans to test the effectiveness of its vaccine in a trial involving 10,000 people between the ages of 18 and 84. The company said at least 25% of the subjects will be over the age of 65. Some 400 participants will also receive a licensed flu vaccine. The trial is being conducted in a partnership with the United Kingdom government's vaccine task force, which was created in April to help speed the development of COVID-19 vaccine. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. A giant rat in Cambodia gets a gold medal for spotting landmines and unexploded ordnances. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Within the Sultanate's preparation for the implementation of Electronic Census 2024 populations, Housing and Establishments Royal Oman Police introduced the possibility of adding electricity account number in the database at the civil registry. The move came to facilitate the updating of residence address for citizens and residents at the civil registry and is part of Royal Oman Police's contribution in the census project. The new feature will serve the work mechanisms for the unified addressing system and documentation of residential rent contract. It also aims to organize the group housing of expatriate workers and helps in planning for basic public services such as hospitals and schools. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, announced during the 16th press conference of COVID-19 Supreme Committee that was held yesterday, has shed light on the latest developments of the pandemic in the Sultanate. More details in the following report. The 16th press conference of the Supreme Committee on COVID-19 Health signaled an increase of COVID-19 patients admitted in the intensive care units. His Excellency Dr. Ahmed bin Mohammed Al-Saidi, Minister of Health, member of the Supreme Committee on COVID-19, speaking to the media during the 16th press conference of the Supreme Committee today, said,
"Welcome to this almost weekly press conference. I will start with the numbers, and I hope these numbers will indicate or will tell us all how serious this matter is. Worldwide, there are more than 32 million cases, reported positive cases of COVID-19 disease. The death rate worldwide, or the number of deaths, almost 1 million. It's very sad to see video clips and messages from people who claim that they are healthcare professionals, or some of them may be politicians, denying the presence of this disease and still believing in the conspiracy theory. The disease is real, it is spreading, it is killing people everywhere. In Oman, yesterday there were 568 cases, which takes the total number of cases in Oman to 95,907, and that's a very huge number for us. Those who passed away, in total, 885. Yesterday, 10 deaths. We admitted in all our healthcare facilities 62 patients yesterday. The total admission is 512. Of the 62 cases, 9 cases in intensive care units, which takes the number to 185 patients of COVID-19 in our intensive care units. We reached a record about a week ago of over 190 cases. That's very much beyond our capacity.
His Excellency, the Minister said perhaps we will have to resort to partial closure of some hotspot areas in the future. There is a clear disregard for social distancing and other rules in public places. His Excellency said the Sultanate is all set to open the first field hospital in 2 weeks, and 14 days quarantine is mandatory for everyone coming to the Sultanate. Regarding returning to schools, the Minister of Health said no one's life will be endangered, and these are directives of His Majesty the Sultan. Everyone should cooperate, as the cost of continuing school closures is also huge at all levels. Health Minister pointed out that 30% of COVID patients in intensive care unit have kidney failure. Regarding the increase of cases, he said the numbers do not mean that institutions have failed in their duty, but cases are increasing in the world, and it is overburdening the health sectors. His Excellency the Minister also said 2 weeks ago we lost a 37-year-old nurse. The Minister said the return of employees to work and opening of commercial activities are leading to the spread of the virus, but the main reason is the lack of compliance with precautionary measures and social distancing. Health Minister added that I call on all government and private agencies to adhere to the decisions and guidelines followed to limit the spread of the virus. There is a group that continues to hold parties in farms, rest houses and closed places, and they gather in beaches and public places. Fingerprint system for employee attendance must be discontinued for now. His Excellency said since the start of the pandemic, a doctor and a nurse have died due to the COVID-19. He added deaths not just among the elderly or those with chronic diseases. We have lost people in the age group 15 to 17. The Minister said the number of COVID-19 cases among medical personnel is about 2,848, 42% of which are due to community transmission. Oman oil price November 2020 delivery reached $42.25 per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price rose by $1.06. The average price of Oman oil October 2020 delivery reached $44.32 per barrel, that's 70 cents higher than price of September 2020 delivery. Citizens and residents have been following the statements of the 16th press conference and a call to adhere to the preventive measures of coronavirus. More details in the following report. His Excellency the Minister of Health stressed that the health sector recorded unprecedented occupancy rate during the last period and continued to record new confirmed cases of COVID-19. He was speaking to the media during the 16th press conference yesterday and said for the first time we have 190 patients in intensive care units. The recovery rate has decreased from 94 to 91% due to the increase in cases.
We appreciate and we understand that all of us are tired, frustrated and bored with COVID-19. But what can we do? I heard horrific stories. Is a person who sent a message to one of my colleagues, 6 of his relatives, six, died over the last few weeks from corona. I would say frustrated, that's not enough, but worried and saddened also that after we've reached the peak, the first week or second week of July, and the cases started to come down, suddenly over the last 3 weeks, cases gone up again. And we know the reasons. We know why. People are gathering on the beaches, in farms, those places, having parties, weddings, funerals. No mask, no physical distance. And the end result? The number of cases going up. And the blame on the government. No, the government did all what they have to do. But this virus, it loves nothing more than us getting very close to each other. Are we in the second wave? We've never left the first wave to go to the second. We just slipped through the second, unfortunately, because also many of us are not doing what we can do to prevent it. None of us is safe until all of us are safe. Before the vaccine, before the treatment, prevention, prevention, prevention.
His Majesty the Sultan appointed a Supreme Committee to tackle the pandemic COVID-19. The Supreme Committee did an excellent job in containing the virus. But recently it has been noticed that the number of cases are piling up and the ICUs are full. It is we, the residents and the citizens of this country, who must cooperate with the government and the Supreme Committee to defeat the virus. This life is a trust from God. We should not waste our life. We should make our efforts to bring up the economy and save the human lives. So practice social distancing, wear masks, and do not hold parties till the situation comes to normal. Wish you all the best.
This lockdown, they've done a fantastic job, but unfortunately the people, they go out. I meet my friend Abdullah, I meet Isa. I don't know Isa is carrying or Abdullah is carrying. And I carry it because they are carrying, and then I give it to the others. This is very, very bad. And unfortunately, in the interior or here, people should take it really seriously.
So as we all know, with the latest news, His Excellency the Minister of Health has announced that the numbers of COVID-19 cases have been arising, and it's even more than before. And it's true that we are out of the lockdown, it's true that we're back to work, businesses are back and functioning, but I believe that now more than ever that we're supposed to take the precautionary measures before anything. And that's also because we need to move on and also have a safer Oman for the future. In that sense being said, we also need to make sure that we take preventive measures, wearing our masks whenever we're outside, make sure that you keep washing your hands regularly, and of course maintain the social distancing. And always remember, before anything, you're doing that for yourself and for your family and for the people of Oman.
Dear citizens and residents, we must realize now before it is too late. If the situation continues the same way, it will be difficult to manage. Therefore, public at every level have a responsibility to confront dangers of this pandemic before it gets out of hand. We will have to be fully engaged on the best course of action. It is vital that we act now to save many lives. Please follow the preventive measures. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat. And now all the way with this story from Cambodia. A rat in Cambodia has been awarded a gold medal for spotting 39 landmines and 28 items of unexploded ordnance since receiving training by a local charity. The giant African poached rat called Magawa, trained by the charity Anti-Personnel Landmines Detection Product Development, went through more than 141,000 square meters of land to discover the landmines. The medal was awarded for his life-saving bravery and devotion to duty. The charity trains rats to detect landmines and tuberculosis. Magawa is the first rat in the charity's 77-year history to be presented with a PDCA gold medal. Some 4 to 6 million landmines were laid in Cambodia between 1975 and 1998, causing more than 64,000 casualties. Now, before we end this news bulletin, here are the main points once again. Passenger arrivals in the Sultanate will be subjected to PCR testing for COVID-19 with the resumption international flights starting from the 1st of October. And Russian president calls for an agreement between Russia and the United States to guarantee not to engage in cyber meddling in each other's elections. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin. We must realize once again, now before it's too late, if the situation continues the same way, it will be indeed difficult to manage. Therefore, public at every level have a responsibility to confront dangers of this pandemic before it gets out of hand. We all have to be fully engaged on the best course of action. It's vital that we act now to save many lives. From all of us here in the Sultanate of Oman Television and the entire news media, we thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening and a safe stay.